Tonight, we're going to be looking at major Civil War battles, and this is just the four that I've kind of picked out for our overall knowledge of the Civil War. There were a lot more battles than what is going to be discussed in this video. There's an outline available under important documents on the Weebly. It's a chart that you can fill out that will make this a little bit easier, gives you a better visual about comparisons of these battles. So if you'd like to use that, feel free to do so. If not, then just fill out your notes as you typically do. So our first major battle, and we've talked about this in class, is Fort Sumter. Fort Sumter is considered one of the sparks of the Civil War, actually one of the causes of the Civil War. So it was a one-day battle that occurred April 12th through 13th of 1861. We know that it occurred in Charleston Harbor, South Carolina, so it did occur in the South. The Union commander was Anderson. The Confederate commander was Beauregard. And the result, as we've talked about, the Union surrenders to the Confederacy. So the Union troops were actually essentially removed themselves from Fort Sumter. And this was the spark of the Civil War. And it was a really, really big morale booster for the Confederate Army. It led them into this war thinking that they could actually really compete against what was going on in the North. Second battle is the First Battle of Bull Run, also First Battle of Manassas. There's a second one as well, but we're just going to look at the first one, July 21st of 1861. So this is, you keep in mind that Fort Sumter was in April, this is July, so this is a few months later. Location was Manassas Junction, which is outside of Richmond, Virginia. And one of the big things to keep in mind, guys, is that the Union Army really focused on the city of Richmond because they knew that if they were able to obtain the city of Richmond, that the Confederacy would fall more quickly. Union commander was McDowell. The Confederate commander is Stonewall Jackson, and this is actually the battle in which Stonewall Jackson gets that nickname that we talked about last night. His troops said that he stood like a stone wall while he was being attacked. Outcome, this was the first major battle of the Civil War. Both sides discovered that the war would be longer and bloodier than expected. This is a Confederate victory. So this is the battle that everybody's going to look at and say, holy cow, this is going to be a long, drawn-out affair. These Southerners can actually fight, okay, and the Northerners are not going to give up that easily. Third battle is the Battle of Vicksburg, May 18th through July 14th of 1863. So that is a multiple-month battle. Okay, it's made up of, some of these big battles that we're going to look at are made up of multiple campaigns. Okay, but this battle was considered to last actually this long, which is, a long amount of time to be fighting a war. Location is the Mississippi River Valley. Like I just said, several different battles made up this campaign. Guys, this was the fight over, we talked about that Anaconda Plan, how the North wanted to constrict the South. So the North needed to get control of some of these areas in the Mississippi Valley so that they could really do that constricting of the Confederate trade. Union commanders were Sherman and Grant, both of whom we talked about last night. The Confederate commander is Joseph E. Johnston. The outcome of this battle, the Confederate troops actually ended up surrendering. This is going to be considered a major turning point in the war because the Union is going to gain control of some of those major trading areas. Additionally, by the end of this battle, the Confederate troops were so depleted and so discouraged that they really had a hard time recovering. So Union victory, and this was a big victory for the North. Last one is Gettysburg, probably the most famous of the Civil War battles. July 1st through 3rd of 1863. It's one of the few battles that we've talked about that was actually fought up in the North. Union commander was George Gordon Meade. The Confederate commander, Robert E. Lee, who we talked about. This was a major, major battle in the North. It was also one of the bloodiest battles of the Civil War. We talked about Antietam being the bloodiest single day of the Civil War, but overall, Gettysburg kind of takes the cake as being the most bloody of the battles. We're going to look at Pickett's charge, which was a big portion of Gettysburg, tomorrow in class. But you need to make sure that you understand these overall details. This is a Union victory and is going to be a huge victory for the North. Although after this battle, both sides are going to be severely depleted in the numbers of troops that they have fighting and the supplies that they have available. So make sure that that chart is completely filled out so that you can do our timeline in class tomorrow, and I will see you guys then.